Hello everyone, welcome back. Mr. Toda here for our second flipped lesson of the year. Today we are going to be talking about section 3. We're going to be studying life. Okay, today we're going to be talking about characteristics of living things and the different parts of biology. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to list the characteristics of living things. You should be able to identify central themes of biology. In addition, you should know these key words. Right now, if you want to take a screenshot of your screen, you can use that, go back to it to make sure you hit all the objectives and the keywords. Alright, so we're going to start off by talking about characteristics of living things. Okay, so what makes something alive? Biology is the study of life. We study living things. If you were to study some non-living things like geographic formations, rocks, you'd be a geologist. Okay, so here we see that life has plenty of diversity. We have everything from scorpions and crabs, which are pretty closely related, to mushrooms, plants, lizards. Okay, in the planet Earth, right, there's a ton of diversity, yet all these things are in common because they are alive. So what are the characteristics that all these different living creatures share? Alright, so the first characteristic of life is that all living things grow and develop. Okay, right here we see as humans, right, we start as a baby, you grow up to a toddler, become a little kid, go to middle school, go to high school, and then eventually you graduate college. Okay, you're going to grow and develop as a living organism. Humans are not the only things that grow and develop, right? Plants, we start as a seed. Then they start to sprout as a seedling. They get bigger and bigger, eventually turn into a big flowering plant. Okay, so all living things are going to grow and develop. All right, the second characteristic of living things is that all things maintain homeostasis. Okay, and this is a big word here, our first vocab word. And the best way to understand this word is to split it in half. Okay, if we look at this first word, homeo or homo. Okay, it's the Latin prefix that means the same. Okay, if we have a solution that is homologous, it is the same throughout. And then we see stasis here. All right, and we can think of stasis as meaning state. So something that's in homeostasis is maintaining the same state. All right, for our definition, anything that is maintaining homeostasis is maintaining a stable internal environment. Okay, and as you can see, there's lots of different ways that we could change that stable internal environment in a human, a plant, a fungus, any living thing. All right, if we change the temperature, that's going to start to change things. If we introduce bacteria, okay, we get a bacterial infection, that can change things. If something becomes too acidic or basic, we start to change the pH scale. So if you drink a gallon of lemonade, which is very acidic, right, that's going to disrupt your stomach. You're going to get sick. You're not going to be maintaining homeostasis. Okay, so a stable internal environment. The third characteristic of living things is that living things respond to their environment. Okay, they respond to a stimulus. And a stimulus is anything that's going to cause a reaction by a living thing in its environment. Okay, so a great example of this is maybe it's cold outside. Okay, when we're cold outside, we start to shiver. One thing your body always does when it gets really cold is you form goosebumps, right? You form goosebumps. Okay, your hair raises up on your skin to try and trap some warm air. Your body's responding to a cold environment. Okay, so all living things are going to respond to a stimulus in the environment in some way. Fourth characteristic of living things is that living things undergo a process called metabolism. All right, now metabolism is a set of chemical processes and reactions where your body takes food energy and creates it into usable energy. All right. Now our bodies and living organisms are doing this 24/7 all the time. Okay, and your metabolism is what allows you to take things like yummy foods like strawberries and cheeseburgers and turn them into high-octane energy like David Hasselhoff here running down the beach to save somebody in Baywatch. A little bit before your time probably, but same idea. Okay, metabolism, breaking down energy and using it in daily activities. The fifth characteristic of living things is that living things reproduce, okay? Living things will create copies of themselves, create offspring to spread on their genetic code, all right? And we have two types of reproduction. We have asexual, which is reproduction from one parent, a single person. So one parent organism creates an exact copy of itself. Here in these anemones, we see they are budding off. This guy makes a little bud, which then grows into an exact copy. Okay, so asexual is one parent. Versus sexual reproduction, where you need both a male and a female to create a new offspring. Okay, so sexual reproduction has two parents. 6, living things evolve. Okay, so over long periods of time, millions of years, organisms will change because of their environments and evolve into new creatures, right? So right here, we see that age-old, we turn from monkey into man, all right? And this right here is a little representation of evolution throughout the time period on Earth here, right? We start down very basic plants, bacteria, which then learn how to do photosynthesis. We branch off into mushrooms here, plants. We start to see our basic animals down here, and eventually we start to see insects, mammals, dinosaurs, and birds. Okay, so all living things will evolve over time. Now, this is nothing that we can see, right, immediately in some type of experiment, like we talked about Charles Darwin last time, right? He had to make observations and to make clues. Okay, and here, just another example, right? Dinosaurs will evolve into birds. So all living things evolve, and again, this is noted that it's over millions and millions of years. Number 7, living things are made of cells, okay? We will talk plenty about this, but a cell, all right, is the basic unit of life, okay? When we start talking about life, we can't break it down any smaller than a cell. This right here is a little diagram of your basic cell anatomy, which we'll talk about, okay? And this here to the left is a picture of cork, okay? Cork that can be found in the top of like a wine bottle or something like that. And cork is actually dried out dead plant material. And these are where the first cells were found, okay, by Robert Hooke. And Robert Hooke was looking under a microscope. He saw these structures and described them as a cell, okay? And we'll talk plenty more about cells and Robert Hooke and the cell theory. But the 7 characteristics of living things is that all living things are made up of cells. Number 8, living things are based on genetic code called DNA, okay? And DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, okay? Deoxyribonucleic acid. This is a chemical molecule, right, which stores all the information for life. So every characteristic that makes you you is found in your DNA, all right? It has a staircase, like a spiral staircase almost, structure, a double helix, all right? And this is so tiny, you can't even really see it with a microscope except when it condenses, okay? And again, DNA is what gives us, all humans are characteristic, all living things are characteristics. Without DNA, we wouldn't be able to survive, we wouldn't be able to do the processes we do on a daily basis to survive. And again, changes in our DNA allow us to look different, have some diversity. Okay, so those are the 8 characteristics of living things. Now, there's a lot to it, okay? This next slide, right, shows that there's many different fields and professions in biology that revolve around these characteristics. Some of them involve ecology, right? Studying your environment. Yes, that's me on a marine biology expedition holding up the sea bass. You could go into biotechnology, all right? We see here this lady's doing something with corn plants, all right? So maybe technology to improve farming techniques. You can go into microbiology, studying microbes and bacteria. You can go into medicine. You could be a doctor, a dentist, a veterinarian. And you could be a paleontologist, okay? Studying ancient fossils, such as dinosaurs, and studying biology of the past. All right, so there's many different ways that you could study biology, and they all revolve around the characteristics of life. The end. All right, guys, so just go back, go through your keywords, make sure you know those and the objectives, and we'll see you for Chapter 2 and chemistry.